The wellness industry has made billions selling solutions to this. Mattresses, white noise machines, melatonin supplements, sleep tracking devices that tell you in precise detail how poorly you slept, as if you needed a device to confirm what your body already knows. But Grace Wild asks a different question entirely. She does not ask what is happening at 3 in the morning. She asks what is happening at 7 in the evening. And here's what she found. In the modern household, dinner is the main event. It is the reward after a long day. It is tradition, comfort, and connection all at once. We sit down in the evening and eat our largest, richest, most satisfying meal of the day. And for decades, that felt completely normal. But Grace Wild points to something our modern food culture has quietly ignored. After 50, the digestive system naturally slows. The liver, the stomach, the pancreas, they are not designed for high-intensity processing late at night. When you eat a heavy dinner and lie down 2 hours later, your internal organs do not rest with you. They go to work. They are processing protein, managing blood sugar, running a full biological night shift at the precise moment your brain is trying to produce melatonin and carry you into deep, restorative sleep. You are not waking up at 3 in the morning because you are old, Grace Wild says. You are waking up because your body is overloaded. Her prescription is breathtakingly simple. Make lunch the largest, most nourishing meal of your day. Your body is upright and active at midday. It welcomes the fuel and burns it cleanly. Then as evening arrives, eat lightly. A warm broth. A simple soup. Something gentle that asks nothing of your organs. Close the kitchen as the sun goes down. Grace Wild writes that within weeks of this single shift, her readers report something they had almost stopped believing was possible. Sleeping through the night. And waking up with a mental clarity, a sharpness and lightness in the mind that they had not felt in years. The second problem Grace Wild addresses in The Peasant's Prescription is one that quietly robs seniors of something they value more than almost anything else. Independence. The ability to bend down and pick something up. To walk through a park without pain. To play with grandchildren on the floor without needing help getting back up. To move through your own home freely, without your body sending distress signals with every step. Modern fitness culture has made this feel impossibly complicated. We are told we need gym memberships, 10,000 daily steps tracked on a smartwatch, resistance bands, physical therapy routines, and anti-inflammatory medications just to maintain basic mobility. And if we cannot keep up with all of it, we carry a quiet guilt that compounds the problem. But Grace Wild strips all of that away. She goes back further, much further, and asks a simple question. How did human beings maintain their joints and their mobility for thousands of years before any of this existed? And the answer, she says, is hiding in the garden. Your joints are not passive structures. They are living systems lubricated by a fluid called synovial fluid, and that fluid only flows when you move. Not when you exercise aggressively. Not when you push through pain on a treadmill. Simply, when you move naturally, gently, and continuously throughout the day. When you sit for long periods in a comfortable chair, even a beautifully supportive one, your joints go still. The synovial fluid thickens. The tissue cools and stiffens. And when you finally stand, that ache and lock you feel is not your arthritis worsening. It is simply your joints waking up from enforced stillness. Grace Wild then introduces something in The Peasant's Prescription that I found genuinely remarkable. There is a natural soil microorganism called Mycobacterium vaccae. When you work with your bare hands in living soil, planting, weeding, turning earth, you inhale and absorb this microorganism through your skin. Clinical research has shown that exposure to Mycobacterium vaccae triggers a measurable surge of serotonin in the human brain. It reduces cortisol, your body's primary stress hormone. It lifts mood, eases anxiety, and creates a calm, grounded sense of well-being. Our grandparents had this every single day, not because they were health conscious, simply because their lives involved the earth. Grace Wild's prescription for mobility is not a fitness plan. It is permission. Permission to move the way your body was actually designed to move. Bending, reaching, kneeling, walking on uneven ground, putting your hands in the soil. 20 minutes in a garden. A walk through a park just to feel the earth beneath your feet. Movement that feels like living, not like punishment. Your joints, she says, do not need to be pushed. They need to be used. Now here is one from the peasant's prescription that I genuinely did not expect, and I think it is going to hit close to home for a lot of you. Grace Wild calls it the thermostat trap. Ask yourself honestly, when did you last feel truly warm from the inside? Not from a blanket or a heater, but that deep, natural, effortless warmth that your body used to generate all on its own. For most seniors over 50, that warmth has been fading quietly for years. Your hands are cold before anyone else in the room reaches for a sweater. Your feet never quite warm up. Winter feels heavier and harder than it ever did before. And so you do the completely reasonable, completely logical thing. You turn the heat up, you add another layer. You insulate yourself from the discomfort as completely as possible. Grace Wild says that reasonable, logical response is quietly destroying your circulation. Your blood vessels are not rigid pipes. They are living muscular walls designed to expand and contract constantly in response to temperature change. That rhythmic flexing, the push and pull between warmth and mild cold, is what keeps your vascular system strong, elastic, and powerful. It is what drives healthy circulation to your hands, your feet, your brain, and your heart. But when you live in a perfectly controlled environment, day after day, season after season, your blood vessels never have to flex. And like any muscle that is never asked to work, they weaken, they stiffen, they narrow. And the result is not just cold extremities. It is a circulatory system that has silently lost a significant portion of its power. Grace Wild also introduces something called brown fat, a specialized tissue your body carries specifically to generate internal heat and protect your core organs in cooler temperatures. Brown fat is extraordinarily powerful, but it only activates when your body is exposed to mild cold. When you never feel a chill, that internal furnace switches off and stays off. Her prescription is not an ice bath. It is not extreme. It is 10 minutes on your porch on a cool morning before you reach for your jacket. It is turning your bedroom temperature down a few degrees at night, allowing the natural cooling of the earth to signal your brain toward deeper sleep. It is simply allowing yourself to feel the seasons again. 10 minutes of mild cold, Grace Wild writes, begins to wake the circulatory system back up. And within weeks, something returns that you may have quietly stopped expecting. Real warmth. Internal, effortless, radiating warmth, generated by your own body again. Now, let's open the refrigerator, because Grace Wild has something important to say about what is in there. Look at the labels. The low-sodium soups, the high-fiber cereals, the yogurt with added cultures, the meal replacement shakes designed specifically for mature adults, the orange juice fortified with calcium and vitamin D. Every single one of those products was made for you, marketed to you, chosen by you because the label said exactly the right words. But Grace Wild exposes something deeply uncomfortable in the peasant's prescription. Most packaged foods marketed to seniors, even the ones that sound genuinely healthy, are ultra-processed. They are chemically stabilized, artificially flavored, and filled with preservatives and emulsifiers that your gut bacteria have never encountered in any natural form. And your gut after 50 is not the same gut you had at 30. The diversity of your microbiome, the vast community of beneficial bacteria that governs your digestion, your immunity, your mood regulation, and even your cognitive clarity, naturally begins to thin as we age. Every course of antibiotics accelerates that thinning. Every ultra-processed meal accelerates it further. Every artificially sweetened product marketed as senior-friendly can push it further still. Grace Wild's prescription returns to the same principle that runs through her entire book. Real, simple, natural. A bowl of warm lentil soup made from scratch. A handful of walnuts. An apple with the skin on. A spoonful of plain sauerkraut or a glass of kefir. Fermented foods carrying living cultures that your gut bacteria actually recognize and welcome. She offers a simple rule that has stayed with me. If a product has more than 5 ingredients and you cannot pronounce 3 of them, your gut almost certainly cannot process them properly either. The cruelest irony Grace Wild identifies in this chapter is this. The foods most aggressively marketed as healthy for seniors are often the exact foods quietly accelerating senior gut decline. And a damaged gut, she reminds us, does not just affect digestion. It affects immunity, mood, energy, sleep, and the clarity of your mind. Feed the gut right, and almost everything else begins to improve. Grace Wild says one of her most powerful observations in the peasant's prescription for something that no supplement can fix, no diet can address, and no doctor will put on your chart. Loneliness. As careers wind down and children build lives of their own, the home grows quiet. And into that quiet, most of us place screens. The television that runs from morning to night. The news feed we scroll before bed. The social media notifications that give us the brief, flickering sensation of being connected to the world. We tell ourselves it is good for us. It keeps our minds active. It keeps us informed. But Grace Wild is unflinching about what prolonged screen exposure actually does to the nervous system after 50. The news cycle is engineered to keep you anxious. The social media algorithm is engineered to keep you reactive. Your cortisol, your primary stress hormone, stays elevated for hours after you put the device down. Your blood pressure does not return to baseline. Your cognitive reserves, the mental energy required for memory, focus, and emotional regulation, drains steadily, quietly, every single day. And here is the deeper wound. Digital connection, for all its noise and activity, does almost nothing to address the real problem Grace Wild identifies: the loss of genuine human presence. She writes that human beings were never designed to age in isolation. For the vast majority of human history, survival was a community project. People split wood together, shared meals, raised children side by side, and sat with each other through illness and loss. That physical presence, the warmth of being truly known by the people immediately around you, is not a social nicety, Grace Wild argues. It is a biological necessity. The research she draws on is clear and sobering. Social isolation is now recognized as one of the strongest predictors of early cognitive decline, accelerated physical aging, and depression in seniors, more predictive, in many studies, than genetics or diet alone. Her prescription is not a new app or a video call. It is a phone call that turns into a visit, a standing weekly lunch, a local group, a garden club, a community choir, a volunteer program, where you show up in person, week after week, and become genuinely known by name. Turn the screen off 2 hours earlier than you normally would. Use that time to be physically present with another human being. Your nervous system, Grace Wild promises, will begin to settle in ways that no screen ever could. And finally, the insight from the peasant's prescription that I believe is the most important of all, and the one that almost nobody is talking about: purpose. Grace Wild dedicates a profound section of her book to what happens inside the body, not just the mind, but the physical body, when a senior loses a clear sense of daily purpose. Think back to the week you retired, the celebration, the freedom, the relief, and then think about the fourth Monday, the one with no alarm, no meeting, no place that needed you to arrive, the one where you made your coffee, looked out the window, and felt something you could not quite name. It was not sadness exactly. It was quieter than sadness and somehow harder to shake. Grace Wild names it precisely. It is the biological withdrawal from purpose. And she is adamant that this is not a psychological struggle alone. It is a physiological one. Your body spent decades running on structure and contribution, deadlines, responsibility, the daily knowledge that someone was counting on you to show up. These were not just psychological motivators. They regulated your cortisol rhythms, your sleep architecture, your immune response, and your cardiovascular function. Purpose, Grace Wild argues, is not a luxury of a well-lived life. It is a biological input your body genuinely depends on. When it disappears overnight, your entire system registers the loss. The research she cites is striking. Seniors without a clear sense of daily purpose experience measurably faster muscle loss, sharper cognitive decline, weakened immunity, and significantly higher rates of cardiovascular events, compared to peers of identical age and identical health who maintain a meaningful reason to get up and contribute every single day. Grace Wild's prescription here is not a second career. It is not a grand gesture. It is finding one thing, one person, one place, one community that needs you to show up. Mentoring a young person in your neighborhood. Teaching a skill you spent a lifetime mastering. Tending a garden that feeds your family. Reading to children at the local library every Tuesday morning. The size of the contribution does not matter, she writes. What matters is that when your feet touch the floor each morning, something out there is waiting for you. Find that thing. Protect it fiercely. Show up for it like your health depends on it. Because Grace Wild's research tells us it does. So let's bring everything together. You came into this video feeling like your body was quietly betraying you. Like the losses were inevitable. Like aging was something happening to you rather than something you had any real say in. But look at what Grace Wild actually found. Broken sleep, caused not by age, but by when you eat. Stiff joints, caused not by deterioration, but by enforced stillness. Lost warmth, caused not by inevitable decline, but by eliminating every natural temperature challenge from your life. Gut damage, caused not by aging alone, but by the ultra-processed products marketed specifically to you. Cognitive drain, caused not by genetics, but by digital isolation replacing real human presence. And physical decline accelerated not by time, but by the quiet disappearance of purpose. Not one of Grace Wild's prescriptions costs money. Not one requires a specialist. Not one is beyond any person watching this video right now. The peasant's prescription, at its heart, carries one message: your body is not broken. It is simply living in a world that has removed every natural condition it was built to thrive in. And the path back is not a complicated medical protocol. It is a return to the simple, friction-filled, purposeful, connected life your biology has always been designed for. This week, Grace Wild would ask you to try just two things. Shift your heaviest meal to the middle of the day and step outside, without your phone. Put your hands in some soil, walk on some uneven ground, and let your body remember what it feels like to simply be alive in the natural world. Getting older is not the enemy. The comfort trap is. And now that you can see it, you can walk out of it. Thank you for watching. If Grace Wild's work resonated with you through this video, please share it with someone over 50 who needs to hear this. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss our next deep dive. And drop a comment below. Tell me which of these 6 insights hit closest to home for you. I read every single one. I will see you in the next one.